It's another good time to see you, our dear partner. We appreciate you for always making the power circuit your favorite. This program is a result of sustained commitment by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, the only company with the mandate of transmitting bulk electricity in Nigeria. I am Amara Agugoesi, and together, let's get the best of this time. Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, says Nigeria is committed to the execution of the North Core Regional Interconnection Project. TCN and other power operators converge on advancing utilization of automated power systems. Minister of State for Power, Godijedi Abba, lauds NEMSA Meter Museum. The power circuit will feature the Director of Transmission Service Department in the Federal Ministry of Power, Engineer Emmanuel Nosike, in the interview segment. Engineer Nosike will be speaking about the federal government's quest to deliver more robust power transmission infrastructure nationwide. Get comfortable and enjoy your view with the power circuits. The Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, has assured the funding partners of North Core Regional Interconnector Project of Nigeria's commitment to its actualization.
Engineer Abubakar made this statement during a courtesy call in his office by the World Bank Country Director, Nigeria, Western and Central African Region, Shubham Choudhury, and his team, who came for a joint midterm review mission of the reports. Responding to the issues of social safeguard payments, which includes compensation of communities where the project will affect, the minister said there is adequate budgetary provision to cater for them, particularly in the 2022 budget, assuring them that as soon as all required processes are put in place, the compensation will commence. The minister also said contractors can move to sites where there are no encumbrances, and stated the need for all funding partners to be aligned to avoid delay in the execution of the project. He assured them that adequate security measures are being put in place by all West African Power Pool WAP member countries to ensure the project is delivered. The World Bank Country Director Shubham Choudhury, represented by the Senior Energy Specialist and Project Manager Emmanuel P., said the meeting was to ensure that the project's implementation plan is in order and expected to be delivered in 2024. The North Core project seeks to build a unit of 330 kV power transmission line from Nigeria to connect Niger, Benin, Togo, and Burkina Faso. The groundbreaking ceremony was held in February 2022 in Niamey, Niger Republic.
The Minister of State for Power, Godijedi Abba, says the first meter generation museum launched by the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, is a vital development stride for the power sector.
At the commissioning of the museum in Lagos, the minister said the project is the first of its kind in Nigeria.
Much work has been done. So Nigeria is working, it can work. If you set your mind to it, it's going to work. This is a good job. We did it in less than 6 months, MD. We did it in less than 6 months, and it works. So please, let's do that. Essentially, museums are places where you learn from history, you gather from the archives and put them there, so generation after generation will learn from what has happened and see what evolved into where we are today. I was pleasantly shocked when I saw a 1920 meter. The last time I came. So what? Before I was born, George, my father was born. And it's still there. You know, so by keeping these things, our children will learn. I'm going to bring my children here to see how it is, because all the way is meter, just going to back, it goes. But how it evolves to that point, they don't know. So this is good, and as we promised, we shall replicate this in all geopolitical zones of the country.
Jerry Agua noted that the facility will be used as a collaborative launchpad in the power sector for lecturers, students, tourists, and electricity users to enhance their knowledge in the evolution of meters.
This is a lesson to show that it can work. Nigeria can work. We can all work together. We can do it. So all other agencies within the body of power are doing their best, and very soon you will see more commissioning of projects from the Power Ministry and NSC, which will showcase what we are doing. We're not there to public relations, no, but you see what we're doing and you appreciate it. So I would give thanks to Mr. President who gave us the impetus to do this. He supported us and gave us all the money, with Mr. Vice President and the Minister, my colleague, Minister of Power, Engineer Walker, Ali, and all other cabinet members who support all the efforts we do in NESI. We assure you that power will improve in Nigeria.
The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of NEMSA, Engineer Tahir Ali, stated that the NEMSA Meter Generation Museum and Gallery is situated at the National Meter Test Station in Oshodi area of Lagos, depicting the transition of meter development.
It is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this epoch-making event, marking the commissioning of NEMSA's Meter Generation Museum and Gallery. Today marks a unique milestone in the history of this agency, as we now have NEMSA's Museum and Gallery that archives all the generation of energy meters ever used in Nigeria. This museum being commissioned today is intended to secure the generation of energy meters ever used in Nigeria for the purpose of educating and informing Nigerians. It is also to showcase the evolution path of electricity meters in Nigeria from a simple electrochemical electricity meter to advanced meter reading AMR and advanced metering infrastructure AMI.
Ali also said it will serve as an archiving platform to educate Nigerians.
The overall aim of this project, therefore, is to educate Nigerians on how electricity meters used to be during the pre-independence era in Nigeria. It also to showcase the several evolution steps as a result of technological advancement. That's where we are today after the electric power sector reform from 2005, and also perception of what is expected in the near future.
The minister inspected the various sections of the museum and its components before commissioning the facility.
Thanks to God Almighty for making this possible, and may He make us grow from eye to eye, and Nigeria a better place for us to live. Amen.
In promoting sustainable improvement in electricity supply services in Nigeria, operators in the Nigerian power sector value chain, led by officials of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, recently converged for the joint biannual generation, transmission, and distribution planning meeting in Lagos. At this meeting, the stakeholders discussed strategies for effective utilization of the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition SCADA scheme, whose implementation is ongoing. Here is a highlight of the session.
The meeting is a forum where operational stakeholders from the three major players in the power value chain and the sector regulator come together to appraise grid operations, forecast and make silent decisions on the power sector. Speaking at the meeting organized by TCN, the General Manager Technical Services at TCN, Engineer Kingsley Oswoha, said the meeting was to discuss the implementation process of the ongoing supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA projects.
Regulation is here. So all of us be on the same page. and all of us work harmoniously and cooperate to make sure this project is delivered, not just according to specification, but according to the requirements of the users. It's very important. What we're talking about is great visibility and connectivity. The grid visibility tends towards the area of the SCADA, and the connectivity tends towards the area of the telecoms. Now, we need to realize that this project, SCADA, is not just for the operators. It's also for the entire value chain of the nursing. The gencos, the discos, the market operator, everybody all need this.
Engineer also noted that while the implementation of the SCADA project is ongoing, TCN will ensure that all existing automation schemes are optimally utilized.
We will not say because we have a new project we are going to lie back and go to sleep and let the contractor do the job. No. What we have now, we have to keep it working. Anything we can do to expand what we have now, we'll do it. We are not going to go to sleep.
In a presentation on the imperative of the remote power grid monitoring, the General Manager System Operations at TCN, Engineer Nefisat Ali, stressed the importance of collaborations in the power sector towards optimum service delivery by the operators.
So I'm saying that this workshop is very important, and I want to commend the GM Technical Services for finding it necessary to organize this workshop. This evolution came with the challenges. We had more substations with complex equipment, and then there was the need to increase reliability and stability, and of course, manpower cost increased because we had more substations, and the need for remote monitoring and control became essential. It was essential, and there was also the need to manage some hazardous operations here and there, sequential operations with interlocks, and complex operations.
Also speaking, the General Manager National Control Center at TCN, Engineer Balaribe Abdullahi, urged the stakeholders to work towards ensuring that the SCADA project is delivered for the entire power sector.
Grid operational management is very important to the grid controllers, NCC. Without that, the visibility of the electric stations will not be visible. All the electric required will not be visible. So I expect the stakeholders in this contract should please involve people on the field. We should not be isolated. The present SCADA fails because it's inconclusive and it's not commissioned.
Other stakeholders made contributions at the meeting on various aspects of the power grid operations, from the generation, transmission aspects, the distribution of electricity, and its regulatory services.
The interview segment comes up shortly. Stay with us.
Are we ignorant, or do we only act ignorant? It was only 23 years ago when frail-looking 70-year-old Abdi Duse escaped death by the whiskers, when a surge of electric current within 2 minutes left sorrows, tears, and blood in his Farakwai village. In a flash, people died instantly. 53 sustained injuries and several properties went up in smoke. Although the dead almost immediately were buried, wounds have healed and Farakwai has picked up the pieces, but never will the scars fade away. 23 years later, and the memory lingers on. Tell me, how do we avoid a Farokai village tragedy?
Another Farokai incident can be avoided if we avoid building on the high-tension installations and doing business activities on the high-tension installations. Let's avoid another Farokai incident and let's adhere to TCN safety rules of building 50 meters away from 330 kV lines, 30 meters away from 132 kV lines, and 15 meters away from 33 kV lines. Let's help TCN transmit electricity in the most efficient and safe manner. Let's stay safe. Let's stay alive.
This is the interview segment of the Power Circuit. Here with us is the Director of Transmission Service Department in the Federal Ministry of Power, Engineer Emmanuel Nosike, speaking about the various efforts of the federal government in building robust transmission infrastructure to have a delightful view.
What is the mandate of your department?
The department is statutorily in charge of the supervision of transmission company of Nigeria, in ensuring that all the policies are conveyed to them and are applied to the standards. We equally ensure that all the projects that they carry out meet up with the aspirations of the government of Nigeria. This is primarily the work we do here. There are other ones that may be ad hoc in nature, but purely all are centered in ensuring that policies are conveyed and appropriately applied.
The ministry is spearheading the Presidential Power Initiative. What is the implementation status so far?
Presidential Power Initiative is a government-to-government agreement between Nigeria and Germany. That initiative is geared towards improving the power supply in Nigeria. Currently, the transmission company in Nigeria will soon be improved to the level of 7,000 megawatts wheeling capacity, because the PPI has ordered 10 number mobile substations and 10 number power transformers. We have already received 2 mobile transformers last month, and we hope that in the next few months the remaining equipment will arrive and will be received, and by that the effort towards reaching 7,000 megawatts will be done.
Vandalism of power transmission assets has been a menace. How is the ministry intervening to address this?
Vandalism stems off from different understanding of the government policies and then the projects we do. For instance, the pipeline that conveys gas from the gas companies to substations are being vandalized because of non-understanding of what we are doing. If you vandalize a pipeline, gas pipeline, there will be no light. You will suffer, I will suffer. So that understanding is what is leading to all this vandalism we have in Nigeria. So I believe that with time, but when all of us come to understand that public properties are ours, all these things will be taken care of. So the Minister of Power presently is engaging with communities to understand that they too are part of the security to maintain the power supply in the country. That one is ongoing. We are equally engaging the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps in ensuring that these lands are protected. TCN has recently acquired some helicopters to ensure surveillance of these power installations in Nigeria. The same TCN, in conjunction with Minister of Power, are beginning to install some surveillance equipment such as cameras, alarms, on power towers. The NNPC on their own has installed some security gadgets on pipelines to ensure that any advance towards vandalizing these lines are known before it is done. These are what we are doing in conjunction with other agencies in Nigeria.
The encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines is another issue. What should Nigerians know about it?
Right-of-way, that's what it means. Right-of-way in electrical installations are the space that is required to accommodate a power installation like transmission lines or substations. This right-of-way is always a space of land which may, in the course of the acquisition, there could be some properties, there could be some economic traits. These things are what we're going to pay for, but not the land. Now, Nigerian people who are the affected persons sometimes, like I said, feel that this is an opportunity for them to take a bit of national cake. Therefore, all state governments do not have the same rate of application on determining what could be paid on the right-of-way acquisition. That's one problem. So, in other words, there should be a uniform rate of what should be paid to the affected persons all over Nigeria. That's number one. Number two, the land decree, which places responsibility on state governments, should be evoked. That the odd land belongs to state government, it's not owned by any individual. Therefore, the state government should come to the rescue of the agencies like TCN in the acquisition of right-of-way, so that the payment could be within the reach of the organization. Again, state government should equally take part, like what was done in Kano. Kano took part last time by paying 500 million of what is required to acquire land. So the Kano state government paid for the land, while the transmission company, the TCN, paid for the economic trees. If that is done, we may not have too much problems with RFO. RFO are causing delays and abandonment of many projects in Nigeria. So I believe that when Nigerians know this, that this is assisting themselves to, there may not be much problem with what we require to do in RFO.
That was Engineer Emmanuel Nosike, Director of Transmission Services at the Federal Ministry of Power, speaking. As he rightly noted, there is the need for collaborations by all Nigerians to take ownership of safeguarding power transmission infrastructure in their communities. This is especially as the government honors its mandate of delivering more of these state-of-the-art power transmission lines, substations and power transformers nationwide. As we wrap up, you heard from the Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, that Nigeria is committed to delivering the North Core Regional Interconnection Project along with the partnering countries. TCN, other power operators converge on advancing utilization of automated power systems. Minister of State for Power, Godi Jedi Abba, lost Nigeria's first meter museum. On the program's interview segment, the Director of Transmission Service Department in the Federal Ministry of Power, Engineer Emmanuel Nosike, called for more collaborations by Nigerians to take ownership of safeguarding power transmission infrastructure in their communities as the government delivers more of these facilities. Always keep in touch with us on the TCN YouTube channel and these other platforms. Be assured that your feedback is one of the drivers for the company to continually deliver tailor-made power transmission assets for Nigeria. I am Amara Agugoesi saying hello.